As most of us know, this year 2025 is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, and LEGO unfortunately did kind of the bare minimum to celebrate it. We thought they were going to give us an entire dedicated wave, just like they did last year in 2024 for the 25th anniversary of Episode 1, but no, they only gave us 3 sets to kind of indirectly celebrate the anniversary of this movie. No special logo on the box, no dedicated wave, just a small handful of sets kind of spread out throughout the year. And as disappointing as it is that they barely celebrated the anniversary of this movie, the 3 sets that they did give us got a ton of attention and are really some of the most controversial LEGO Star Wars sets ever made. So because of that, I thought there'd be no better time than now to redo my ranking of every LEGO Star Wars Revenge of the Sith set. As many of you guys might know, I did make this video 2 years ago in 2023. However, since then, LEGO has released multiple new sets from this movie, and to be honest, a lot of my opinions have changed since then, so this list is gonna be quite different. So without further ado, this is my official 2025 ranking of every LEGO Star Wars Revenge of the Sith set. And this is going to be a long one because I have a total of 54 separate sets to get through, and starting off all the way back at the 54th spot, I have 7251 Darth Vader Transformation from 2005. And this one being all the way at the very back might upset some of you guys because I know this is a very nostalgic set for a lot of people, but nostalgia is really all this set has going for it, because if you look past that, this set really isn't much at all. Even for 2005, I think this set was very weak. I appreciate LEGO including Darth Vader in a small $7 set at the time, and the feature where he can spin around and reveal his damaged body is pretty cool too, but other than that, this set is just pretty bland compared to other sets from its time period and to other sets on this list. Up next at the 53rd spot, I have another 2005 set, and a bit of a bizarre one, that being 7257 Ultimate Lightsaber Duel. And this is another set that's probably nostalgic for a lot of people. Now, I definitely don't really see people talking about this set anymore, but it does have a little bit of a cult following because it was the very first Anakin vs. Obi-Wan duel set, and it just looks cool. I mean, it's pretty bizarre looking, as you can tell, and not to mention both Anakin and Obi-Wan are light up figures, but at the same time, the set as a whole barely resembles Mustafar at all. I mean, it looks really cool. It quite literally kind of looks like an arena, which I think is awesome, but at the same time, it just barely resembles Mustafar, so that's why I have it at the back of the list. Anyways though, up next at the 52nd spot, I have a microfighter, that being 75072 ARC 170 Starfighter. This set was released in 2015 and was part of Microfighter Series 2, and other than that, I mean, there's really not much to say about this. It looks like a miniature ARC 170, and the clone pilot is really cool. If I had a complaint with this set, it'd be that I wish the clone pilot had printed legs, because this was released in 2015, and printed legs were very much the standard by that point. Although, besides that, I really don't have much to say about this one. Up next at the 51st spot, I have another microfighter, that being 75073 Volter Droid. This set was released in 2015 alongside the ARC 170, and was also a part of Microfighter Series 2, and the reason I put it one spot higher is just simply because I like the rotating function of the legs and the head of the Vulture Droid, and I think it looks pretty funny when you display it in its standing position. Now, you can't sit the battle droid on it like this, but I still think it looks cool, so because of that function, I put it one spot higher than the ARC 170. Now, making our way into the top 50, at the 50th spot, I have 7252 Droid Tri-Fighter, another small set released in 2005, and another set that I really don't have much to say about. I think for the first Droid Tri-Fighter, they did a pretty good job on it. It resembles the ship very well, and I also love the bright blue color scheme, and the printed sphere pieces in the middle are really nice, but other than that, this set really isn't much. No minifigures, just a little buzz droid. So again, yeah, not really a whole lot going on with this one, so that's why it's at the back of the list. Up next at the 49th spot, I have the Anakin vs. Obi-Wan remake, that being 75269 Duel on Mustafar from 2020. Now, in my opinion, this is definitely a significant upgrade from the 2005 version that I just talked about, because it actually resembles Mustafar a little bit more. The build is actually red and orange for the most part, and there's lots of flames and fire around, and it also just captures the entire scene a lot better, but at the same time, I still don't think this is the best way LEGO could do Anakin vs. Obi-Wan, because while it is an upgrade from the first one, it's still pretty sloppy, and it still doesn't resemble Mustafar as good as a set like this should, and I just think that an Anakin vs. Obi-Wan set could be done a lot better than what LEGO has done so far, meaning that to this day, I don't think they've made a set of this scene perfectly yet, but at the very least, this one is slightly better than the original, I guess. Up next at the 48th spot, I actually have a set that released this year in 2025, that being 75431 327 Star Corps Clone Troopers Battle Pack. And yeah, I'm pretty sure none of you guys are surprised to see this set at the back of the list, and I'm also pretty sure that you guys aren't surprised that the reason this set is at the back of the list is because of its retail price of $45. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's actually kind of a shame, because if it wasn't for its price point, this set would be a lot higher up, because I actually like it for the most part. I mean, really the only thing I don't like about it are the clone troopers, because they don't have commas, and also because because they have those ugly helmet holes and there's not enough accessories for all of them. I don't remember exactly. I think there's only enough accessories for 1 or 2 clone troopers, and the other ones don't have any helmet gear, so their helmet holes are just exposed and ugly, which I think is annoying. But other than the clone troopers, I think this set is great. The spider droid is amazing. It's the best War Spider droid LEGO has ever made. And I know this might be a hot take, but I also really like that ATRT build. Now, I think the stud shooter on the front looks a bit ridiculous, but the actual walker itself looks really cool. It's definitely one of the better oversized ATRTs LEGO has made. But at the end of the day, that kind of doesn't really matter, because the fact that this set is so overpriced, it just completely outweighs all of that, and I had to put it at the back of the list, which again is a shame because I like the material on this set. It's just too expensive. Anyways though, up next at the 47th spot, I have yet another overpriced 2025 set, that being 75413 Republic Juggernaut. And just like the battle pack, the reason it's at the back of the list is because it's extremely overpriced at $160, when in reality its retail price should be about $110. And again, it's kind of a shame because I like how this build looks. Keyword, I said looks. I think it actually has a nice aesthetic appeal. I just think this set looks aesthetically pleasing. But again, keyword, that's only looks and aesthetics. The actual build itself is littered with inaccuracies, and also, as we all know, it's extremely fragile. So that, combined with it being overpriced, is not good. And also the Galactic Marines and Bakara, I don't want to talk about them too much, but Bakara's helmet mold looks ridiculous. He also doesn't have a comma, and the Galactic Marines look better. However, they don't have commas either, and I'm going to continue to complain about that because these clone troopers need commas. So yeah, this set looks really good, has a nice aesthetic appeal in my opinion, but the clone troopers are not as good as they should be. This set is littered with inaccuracies and structural problems, and it's literally $50 overpriced. Anyways though, now making our way to the 46th spot, I have 7258 Wookiee Attack from 2005. And this is another set that I'm pretty sure is a fan favorite and very nostalgic to a lot of people, but I'm gonna be honest, I've always just kind of had a take it or leave it mindset towards this one. I mean, the builds look fine and the concept of the set is pretty cool, but it's just never really been my favorite, and also I really wish it had more battle droids. So again, I know a lot of people like this one, but it's just never appealed to me all too much. Up next at the 45th spot, I have a set that I've always thought of to be kind of random, that being 75412 Homing Spider Droid from 2016. And the reason I've always thought of this one to be kind of random is because it was released only 3 years after the prior Homing Spider Droid back in 2013. And also it was just kind of strange to make it based on Kashyyyk, because obviously there weren't any Homing Spider Droids in the Battle of Kashyyyk scenes. Now I'm pretty sure the most logical reason that LEGO made this set at the time was to pair it with the Turbo Tank that also released in 2016, but a Spider Droid, really? It was just kind of strange, to me at least. But the actual set itself is cool, I guess. It's nearly the exact same design as the 2013 model. The main difference being the gun on the bottom. This one has a stud shooter and the other one didn't have a stud shooter. And also I'm pretty sure they fixed a lot of balancing issues on this one that the 2013 one had problems with. The minifigure lineup was also decent. You got Yoda and a Kashyyyk trooper along with 2 battle droids and a dwarf spider droid, and this was all for only $30, so I'd say that's a decently good deal. But still, I've just always thought of this set to be kind of random, and I've also just never really been a huge fan of the Homing Spider droids in the first place. Up next at the 44th spot, I have a personal favorite of mine, that being 6205 V-Wing Fighter from 2006. In my opinion, the V-Wings are one of the most underrated Star Wars starfighters, and I've always liked the LEGO sets LEGO has done of them, and with this one being their first attempt at the ship all the way back in 2006, they did a decent job at it. I mean, I think it looks really solid. It resembles the ship, however there are some annoyances with it, like the Republic logo not being in the right place. There's also no control panel in the cockpit, it's just a plain white brick, and the set as a whole is also very outdated in 2025, so that's why I didn't put it any higher. But still, it's definitely kind of a personal favorite of mine, mainly just because I like V-Wings in general. Anyways though, up next at the 43rd spot, I have what is in my opinion the best microfighter LEGO's ever made, that being 75028 Clone Turbo Tank. This was released all the way back in 2014 and was part of the first wave of microfighters LEGO ever released, and for some reason it's just always been kind of special to me. First of all, the clone trooper in it is amazing. For the longest time it was the only modern phase 2 plain white clone trooper LEGO had ever made, and to this day I think it's still the best plain white phase 2 clone trooper LEGO's ever made by a long shot. And I think the build itself is really fun because unlike other microfighters, it's a ground vehicle, which is different, and the fact that it's a turbo tank is just really funny to me. It's like he's driving a little go-kart around. It's just cool. Again, I just have a lot of favoritism for this set, but at the end of the day it is still a microfighter after all, so I can't put it too high up on this list. Up next at the 42nd spot, I have a fan favorite battle pack, and also a set that most of you guys would probably like to see higher up on this list, that being 7654 Droids Battle Pack from 2007. And I know this is considered to be one of the most legendary battle packs of all time, and I can agree with that to a certain extent. I think getting this many droids back in 2007 for only $10 was a great thing. It was awesome for army building, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure the reason people glaze this set so much is just because it's the only standalone battle droid battle pack we've ever gotten. And when you take away that factor, However, the set really is just a handful of battle droids, which are a dime a dozen, and some very, very basic builds, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that. Battle packs aren't supposed to be about the builds in the first place, but this set is just super, super basic, and it gets a lot of praise just because it's the only standalone droids battle pack, which now that I think about it, since LEGO doesn't consider battle droids to be minifigures anymore, we'll probably never get a set like this ever again, but still, my point still stands. Legendary battle pack, very nostalgic, but at the end of the day, it really isn't that crazy. Anyways though, up next at the 41st spot, I have one of my personal all-time favorite sets, that being 7671 ATAP Walker from 2008. And as a kid, this set was actually kind of my white whale. I know it's a random set to be someone's white whale, but it's very nostalgic to me. And the main reason for that is because I used to love watching the commercial for this set back in 2008 when it originally released. And for some reason, the commercial for this set just always really stuck out to me, and I always wanted it, and now I have it, and it's pretty cool. However, setting my nostalgia for this set aside, it's really not the greatest job LEGO could have done at an ATAP in 2008. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love this set, and it looks really cool, but it's far from perfect, and it's definitely the weakest ATAP LEGO has made. For one, it includes shock troopers, which is really random. I mean, they look awesome, but they're just random, and they don't fit the set. And also, it just looks super top heavy because the main hull area is way too big, and its shaping just doesn't really resemble an ATAP in the best way. So as nostalgic and special as this set is to me, even I have to set my nostalgia bias aside and realize that there are better sets. Now making our way into the top 40, at the 40th spot, I have 7678 Droid Gunship from 2008. And I know a lot of people for some reason consider this to be a Clone Wars set. It's even listed as a Clone Wars set on Brickset. However, if you look at the box art, it clearly has Kashyyyk in the background, so to me, it's an episode 3 set. But regardless, the only reason this set made it this high up on this list is simply because of the bomb dropping play feature. I don't know the best way to describe it to actually do it justice, but if you own this set, you know what I'm talking about. The bomb drop feature on this one is just super satisfying and fun, to me at least, and also the way that the bombs themselves look and hang underneath the droid gunship looks awesome. They're like staggered missiles, which gives it a really cool aesthetic, and honestly, I'm going to go so far to say that this droid gunship has the best bomb dropping feature out of all the LEGO droid gunships, but that alone has only gotten it so far because the build itself is pretty ugly and unappealing and definitely looks significantly dated and significantly worse than the other two models, but at least the bomb dropping feature is freaking awesome, and that's why I made it this high. Up next at the 39th spot, I have another personal favorite of mine. I know I've been saying that a lot, but it's true, that being 75037 Battle on Saleucami from 2014. And this is kind of a weird one. To my knowledge, this was the last sub $20 set LEGO made that wasn't a battle pack, microfighter, or mech, or anything like that. Just a normal sub $20 playset, which they do not do anymore. And you could almost call it a glorified battle pack. However, it's not really a battle pack because it's got one clone trooper. I guess it could be a droids battle pack, but at the same time, it's just kind of strange to have 4 droids and 1 clone trooper. LEGO just doesn't make sets like this anymore. But obviously, the set itself is pretty cool. The main highlight being the clone trooper himself, Commander Neo, because he's definitely a more lesser known, kind of deeper cut clone trooper that's not as popular as the other ones. So I just think it's awesome that LEGO went so far to make him. And his speeder is really cool too. I like the colorway on it. The red and white stripes look nice. So yeah, again, this is a weird one, but I like it a lot, and a lot of other people do too. Up next at the 38th spot, I have 7250 Clone Scoutwalker from 2005. This was a very, very simple set, just a $10 ATRT with 1 clone trooper, but I think for 2005, they did a surprisingly really good job on this walker. Obviously, it's oversized, but it looks great. It captures the detail and especially the stature of an ATRT really well, and I think for this being LEGO's first attempt at this vehicle, they did an amazing job. Moving on to the 37th spot, I have 7656 General Grievous's Starfighter from 2007. This is one that I don't really have much to say about. It was the first time LEGO made General Grievous's Starfighter, and they did a decent job at it. It resembles the ship, and it was a fun, cheap little playset for back when it was released. However, obviously today in 2025, it's extremely outdated, but back then it was pretty cool. Up next at the 36th spot, I have another legendary 2007 battle pack, that being 7655 Clone Troopers battle pack. As we all know, this was the very first Clone Trooper battle pack LEGO ever made, and it was released alongside the Droids battle pack I talked about earlier, and it too is a legendary set, mainly because it was the first Clone Trooper battle pack and really started the wave of army building. However, like the Droids battle pack, I also think there's quite a bit of nostalgia bias towards this one. It's great and extremely nostalgic, and to this day, I love the design of those 2005 Clone Troopers. I know they're not accurate, but to me at least, they look really awesome. But as we all know, since this set, there's been a lot of better clone battle packs, and this one is really only cool because it's retro and nostalgic. And speaking of nostalgia bias, this is definitely going to be a hot take, but at the 35th spot, I have 7261 Clone Turbo Tank from 2005. And yeah, I know to literally 99% of people, this set would probably be in the top 5 or maybe even the top 3. I'm actually pretty sure that when I did my first episode 3 ranking video, I put this set at number 1, 2021, if I remember correctly, but since then my opinions have changed, and this set, to me at least, is one of the biggest candidates of nostalgia bias within the LEGO Star Wars community, in my opinion. It's super retro, super nostalgic to a lot of people. The clone troopers are awesome, like I just briefly mentioned. It's also a massive build with tons of play features, but I just think this set aged pretty poorly, and also, not gonna lie, I think it looks kind of tacky too. And when I say it aged poorly, I mean, I know it's 20 years old, but I think it aged poorly compared to other sets it was released alongside of, like the ARC 170 and the Wookiee Catamaran. I think sets like those resemble their source material a lot better than this turbo tank does, and they just aged a lot better, and this one simply just didn't. I think it's very, very outdated in 2025, especially compared to other 2005 sets. And again, I have a lot of respect for its legendary status in the LEGO Star Wars community, but I just think it's not all that it's cracked up to be, and it's one of the biggest candidates for nostalgia bias. Anyways though, up next at the 34th spot, I have another 2005 set, that being 7260 Wookiee Catamaran, and to me at least, this is definitely one of the more underrated 2005 sets, and also a set that I really wish would get remade. I know it's definitely a bit of a more niche vehicle, however, I think this could really use a modern rendition. But as for this set goes, I think the Wookiee Catamaran looks solid for 2005. I think it is a tad bit bland. To me at least, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I think the main highlight of this set is actually the Swamp Speeder. I don't know what it is about it, I just really like it, and I think for 2005, LEGO did a very, very good job on it. It looks very accurate to the source material, but hey, don't get me wrong, I think the Catamaran is cool too. The Swamp Speeder is just a little bit cooler, in my opinion. Oh, and not to mention, this set also has a light-up Luminara Unduli. Moving on to the 33rd spot, I have a fan favorite, that being 7255 General Grievous's Chase. This was the first time they made Grievous's wheel bike, and also the first and only time they made this scene in its entirety, meaning that this set also includes the Lizard Boga and not just the wheel bike like they did later on in 2014. And that's really the reason this set is a fan favorite, is just because of Boga. It's the only time LEGO's ever made this before. And I mean, for 2005, it looks decent. I think the wheel bike looks a little bit better. I imagine that if they ever remake this Lizard, they won't make it a mold, they'll make it brick built. But for 2005 at least, this got the job done. It definitely won it today though. Up next at the 32nd spot, I have an absolute classic, that being 7256 Jedi Starfighter and Vulture Droid. And this is one that I really don't have much to say about, because for 2005, I'd say this set was nearly perfect. It's just a 2-in-1 set with a really great Jedi Interceptor and a really great blue CIS Vulture Droid. These two builds are definitely pretty outdated nowadays, however, for 2005, again, I'd consider this pretty much a perfect set, especially for only $20. Moving on to the 31st spot, I have a set that I think is really underrated, that being 8091 Republic Swamp Speeder from 2010. For some reason, this set has just gone under the radar. Most people kind of forgot about this one, but I really like it. Now, mind you, this set was $30, which back in 2010 was pretty overpriced, and I think that's part of the reason this ended up getting swept under the rug, is just because it was overpriced when it released, and a lot of people didn't like that, so everyone at the time just looked down on this set, and then it kind of just got forgotten about as time went on. But its original price aside, I like it. I love how it includes Barriss Offee, and it was also the last set to include a classic Phase 2 clone trooper, and the Swamp Speeder build itself is really nice. I'd say it's the best Swamp Speeder LEGO has made. I mean, it clearly looks like it's a 15-year-old build, but I still like it a lot. But now making our way into the top 30, at the 30th spot, I have 7915 Imperial V-Wing Starfighter from 2011. And I think this set is great, and it also definitely has a bit of a cult following just because of how unique it is. If you can't tell, it's literally just a recolored V-Wing to be black and gray, but I think it looks awesome. And also the pilot in this set is just so cool looking to me. It's just the normal Phase 2 pilot recolored to be black and white, and I think it looks awesome. And so does the ship. This is just all around a unique set and a classic. Up next at the 29th spot, I have a set that really needs to be remade, that being 75041 Vulture Droid from 2014. And at the time of me making this video, this is the most recent Vulture Droid LEGO has made, over 10 years ago. And a lot of people, including myself, really want a new one. Now this set looks really cool. I think they did an amazing job on it for 2014. I'd say it's probably the best Vulture Droid LEGO has made. Now it is literally littered with stickers. There are so many stickers on this set, but at least they look good if you put them on right. And also, not to mention, it has that Nemanodian warrior, which is a bit of a random figure, but it's really cool that they threw him in this set. Moving on to the 28th spot, I have another V-Wing, that being 75039 V-Wing Starfighter from 2014. This is the most recent V-Wing LEGO has made, and just like the Vulture Droid, I would love to see a remake of this. And also, just like the Vulture Droid, this set is also littered with stickers. Now mind you, they look really good. They add a ton of detail to this thing. There's just a lot of them. But stickers aside, the rest of the ship is really cool too. Like I mentioned earlier, I just really like the design of V-Wings in general. And so far, this set right here is the best V-Wing LEGO has made. Up next at the 27th spot, I have 75042 Droid Gunship from 2014. This was the second Droid Gunship LEGO ever made, and I'd say that in terms of looks, it was a significant upgrade from the first one. I still think the first one has the best bomb dropping feature, but this one beats it out in almost every other category. It looks a lot more accurate, it's way more aesthetically pleasing, amazing, and it's got a way better minifigure lineup too. Up next at the 26th spot, I actually have a buildable character, that being 75255 Yoda from 2019, and I didn't even know this was an episode 3 set until I started making this video, and I guess it's an episode 3 set because the box art is Coruscant, but the set as a whole looks good, I guess. I don't know, it's always kind of hard to rank these buildable characters because they're just such outliers from normal sets, but the shaping on his body, especially his hood and his arms, and especially the hair on the back of his head looks phenomenal. But like all buildable characters, it goes downhill once you get to the face area because they can just never get these faces right. Moving on to the 25th spot, I have one that's kind of a doozy to talk about, that being 75402 ARC 170 Starfighter from this year 2025. This set was the long-awaited ARC 170 remake. We waited 15 years for this set right here, and to most people, LEGO overall disappointed us with this set. Now I do have to say that as the year has gone on, this set has definitely grown on me a little bit. There are some things I really like about it, like the sleekness around the cockpit area. It's just super clean looking, and especially the engines, I think they look phenomenal. But on top of that, this set is also just littered with a bunch of little things that really aggravate me and a lot of other people. I'd say the main issue is definitely the cockpit windshield stickers, and the renders, as you can see here, they look how they're supposed to look. They're white and they look perfect, but in person they are extremely discolored and it looks so bad. And as you can see here, they're not white at all. They're kind of a see-through gray color. It's like a wet paper towel or something. That's what it looks like to me, and it almost throws off the look of the entire cockpit. And as many of you guys know, they actually released a new version of this set where the cockpit windshield pieces are a new color. They changed them from trans black to trans clear, but the sticker problem is still there, which is just really unfortunate for a set in 2025. Like, we just should not have problems like this. And some other things I don't like about it are the wings being too short, along with the cannons on the wings themselves being too short too. It's just little things like this that shouldn't be problems on a set releasing in the modern era 2025. Again, I like the design of the cockpit, I like the engines, I think that whole area looks really clean, but the other stuff I mentioned is just super aggravating, and it's just problems that we should not have on sets nowadays. Anyways though, up next at the 24th spot, I have 75261 Clone Scoutwalker 20th Anniversary Edition from 2019. And as the name suggests, this set was made to celebrate the 20th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars back in 2019, and was also kind of a nod to the original Clone Scoutwalker that I talked about earlier. And I actually really like this set. I know the ATRT is oversized, but I just think it looks awesome. You guys have probably heard me talk about this before, but I personally really like the oversized ATRTs. I think they just look cool on display. They especially look cool in large numbers if you have like an army of them. And also, since they're so oversized, it allows LEGO to add a lot of detail on these things, and I think that's what they did right here, and it looks phenomenal. The rest of the set isn't much. It's just a dwarf spider droid and a little Wookiee barricade. The main highlight is definitely that ATRT. Anyways though, up next at the 23rd spot, I have another set that really needs to be remade, that being 75044 Droid Tri-Fighter from 2014. Just like the Vulture Droid and V-Wing that I talked about earlier, this is also the last time we got this ship, over 10 years ago. And in 2014, LEGO did a phenomenal job on this thing. I think it looks incredible. It's super detailed, the shaping is perfect, and it's also a pretty large model too, which I really like. And not to mention, it has Emperor Palpatine in his sort of captured prison outfit, which is a really awesome figure for them to include. But as cool as this set is, like I mentioned, I really wish LEGO would make a new one soon. Up next at the 22nd spot, I had the only ever UCS set released from this movie, that being 10186 General Grievous from 2008. Now, if LEGO ever makes a new buildable General Grievous, they definitely wouldn't consider it a UCS set, but back in 2008, they did, making it, like I said, the only UCS set from episode 3. And I love this thing. It's a personal favorite of mine. Again, I know I've been saying that a lot, but I just think it's really cool. I also think it's a super underrated set. It does not get enough attention in the community. Although with that being said, it's definitely not perfect. As cool as it looks, it does have some fragility issues. The legs on this thing are extremely fragile, making it very difficult to move and transport, which is very frustrating, but at the very least, it looks awesome. It's a super unique set, and I think it's an amazing display piece that's underrated. Up next at the 21st spot, I have a fan favorite, that being 9494 Anakin's Jedi Interceptor from 2012. As you can tell, this is his green Jedi Interceptor that he took to Mustafar, the only time LEGO has ever made this version of his ship, and it looks really good. LEGO did a great job on it. I mean, they kind of perfected the Jedi Interceptor design back in 2005, and ever since then, they haven't really messed it up, so it's kind of a no-brainer that they do a good job on this one. However, the reason I didn't put it higher up is simply just because I'm not the biggest fan of the dark green colorway. I think his yellow ship looks a lot better. I know that's more of a subjective thing, but after all, this is my ranking. However, to most people, the main highlight of this set is the minifigure lineup, because it includes the Sith version of Anakin along with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it also includes Newt Gunray, which is definitely more of a rare character because LEGO has only made this character twice before. So again, fan favorite set, looks phenomenal. However, I'm not putting it any higher just because I'm not the biggest fan of the green colorway. But now making our way into the top 20, at the 20th spot, I have an absolute fan favorite set, and also a set that I personally think is pretty overrated. completed, that being 9526 Palpatine's Arrest. This set was released all the way back in 2012, and fans are desperately wanting a remake of this, and the main reason for that is because of the minifigure lineup. Every single minifigure in this set is exclusive, and it also just includes some more rare Jedi that LEGO doesn't usually make very often, like Kit Fisto, Stacey Tin, Mace Windu, and Agent Kolar. Really, because of those figures, this set gets an insane amount of attention, and most people consider it to be kind of the holy grail episode 3 set, which is good and all. I mean, these Jedi are cool, they're characters we don't usually get. However, I don't think the actual set as a whole is as good as people think it is. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not all it's cracked up to be, in my opinion. I think the actual Palpatine's office area of this build looks really good, like the area around his seat with the chairs and everything. I think that looks great, but the rest of the set outside of that is just a little bland to me, and I also think it's honestly too big. And I know it's kind of ironic to hear me of all people complain that a set is too big, but I think this set is just too large. It's a big, sprawled out, flat build that's very hard to display and even hard to store in general, and that's actually the main reason I think this set needs a remake, is just because I think they could do the build a lot better. They could make it smaller and more confined and more detailed and easier to store / display, but this build is not. Again, besides the office area, it's just a pretty big, bland build. But after all, I do have respect for the hype around this set, just because, you know, LEGO doesn't really do stuff like this anymore, but I'm not going to put it any higher than the 20th spot. Up next at the 19th spot, I have 8096 Emperor Palpatine's Shuttle from 2010. This is one I don't really have a whole lot to say about. I like the design of the ship quite a bit. I just think the shuttle in Star Wars has a very intriguing design, and LEGO captured that very well here for 2010 at least, and it's also got a pretty solid minifigure lineup. I mean, overall, cool little set. I just don't really have much to say about it. Up next at the 18th spot, I have another personal favorite of mine. Gosh, I've said that for almost every set on this list now, but 75038 Jedi Interceptor from 2014. I think this set is nearly perfect for 2014. I really don't see what else they could have done better on this one. It is a very good looking model and also a great starfighter for kids to play with. Anyways though, moving on to the 17th spot, I have a super unique set, that being 75183 Darth Vader Transformation from 2017. This set is freaking awesome. LEGO recreated this scene so perfectly here. I'd almost even say this was a precursor to dioramas. I mean, it looks perfect. They got the shape of the build right. All the play features and functionalities are awesome. And not to mention, you got 3 figures as well as 3 unique droids, all for only $25, which is insane. LEGO would never release a set like this for this cheap ever again. Up next at the 16th spot, I have another unique set, that being 7661 Jedi Starfighter with Hyperdrive Booster Ring from 2007. The Hyperdrive Booster Rings are just really cool concepts in Star Wars, and LEGO surprisingly translated it really well for 2007 here. I mean, the thing just looks awesome. It's massive and definitely stands out in anyone's collection, and not to mention that beautiful blue and white colorway of the Interceptor and the ring itself. It just looks so good, and it's one of my personal favorite Jedi Interceptor colorways that LEGO has done. However, unfortunately, like most of these older sets, it does have some fragility issues. The ring itself has quite a few loosely attached pieces that do tend to fall off when you handle the thing, which is the main reason as to why I didn't put it up any higher on this list, but at the very least, it just looks incredible. Up next at the 15th spot, I have a notoriously overpriced set, that being 75286 General Grievous' Starfighter from 2020. And when this set was released, it had an original retail price of $80 which was insane. It really should have been around $60 or $65. And honestly, the fact that this set was so overpriced is so disappointing, because if it wasn't overpriced, I would have put it way higher up on this list, because the actual material in this set is perfect. There's genuinely nothing wrong with any of it. The build is beautiful. It's the best General Grievous' Starfighter LEGO has made so far. It's a sleek and aggressive and mean looking starfighter. They just did a great job on it. And also the minifigures are perfect too. You got Obi-Wan Kenobi, you got General Grievous himself, and then you got a 212 Trooper with a waist cape. Again, it's just very disappointing that this set was so overpriced when it released, because if it wasn't overpriced, it would easily be in the top 10. Anyways though, up next at the 14th spot, I have a set from 2024 that's actually become a recent fan favorite, that being 75377 Invisible Hand. Fans had been wanting LEGO to make the Invisible Hand for a very long time, and they finally gave it to us in the form of a mini-scale set. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people wanted a normal play set, but this is still really cool too. I mean, it looks really good. It's one of the cheaper mini-scale sets at $50. It's a great display piece that represents the ship very well. Like other mini-scale sets, I do wish this set had a minifigure, preferably General Grievous, obviously, but that's pretty easy to look past because the build just looks good. Continuing on with CIS sets, up next at the 13th spot, I have 75233 Droid Gunship from 2019. And in my opinion, this is easily the best droid gunship LEGO has made. I think they perfected it with this design right here. The shaping on the back circular disc area is really good. They perfected the circle shape on it, and also not to mention the way they were able to do the head on this build. I think it looks phenomenal. Its eyes are mean and scary looking, just like how droid gunships are supposed to look. Now, I do have to say, I don't think the minifigure lineup in this set is the greatest. I wish it included a clone trooper or two, but other than that, it's a really good set. Anyways though, up next at the 12th spot, I have 75040 General Grievous's wheel bike from 2014. And let me tell you, this wheel bike design looks incredible. I mean, I genuinely don't think LEGO could have done a better job at this design, and that's crazy to say because this set is literally over 10 years old. I do have to say though, it has always kind of aggravated me how Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't have his lightsaber, he just has a blaster. It kind of just makes him feel incomplete. But other than that small little nitpick, this set is literally perfect, and not to mention it was only $25. Up next at the 11th spot, I have one of the shortest lived LEGO Star Wars sets of all time, that being 7283 Ultimate Space Battle from 2005. This set was actually exclusive to Target and was only available for about 3 months from October 2005 to December 2005. And because of it having such a short lifespan, this set has actually become pretty rare. If you look at the aftermarket value of this set nowadays, it's up there, it's pushing $1,000, which I mean kind of makes sense since it was only available for 3 months all the way back in 2005. But regardless, the set itself is legendary. You literally got 5 starfighters for only $50. There's just no way LEGO would ever release a set like this again. And also not to mention at the time, it was the only set to include Obi-Wan's Red Jedi Interceptor. Anyways though, now making our way into the top 10, at the number 10 spots, I have 7259 ARC 170 Fighter from 2005. And to this day, it's just so insane to me how good of a job LEGO did on this set for all the way back in 2005. I mean, it resembles the ARC 170 perfectly. Yeah, today in 2025, it's obviously a bit dated, but man, back then it was so far ahead of its time. And if you remember, it's one of the sets I compared to the Turbo Tank that's way more accurate and true to its source material. However, that doesn't mean it's perfect. There are a few issues with this thing, which is kind of expected for a set this old. The wings are slightly fragile, and the actual cog mechanism to open the wings does come undone sometimes, which does lead to the wing opening function not working properly. However, at the very least, this set looks really good, and when the wing function isn't messing up, it's a banger of a set. Up next at the number 9 spot, I have another ARC 170, that being 8088 ARC 170 Starfighter from 2010. This was the second ARC 170 that LEGO ever made, and to many people, myself included, it's considered to be the best one they've made as well. In 2025, its design is definitely a bit dated, however, it's still better than the most recent one they released. It's a massive set with a huge wingspan, and the wings are actually proportional, they're the right length, the cannons on the wings are also the right length, and not to mention, the cockpit stickers actually look good because they're white. It's honestly insane to me that a set that is 15 years old has higher quality stickers than a set that released this year in 2025. But anyways, if this set does have a problem, it's definitely those fragile red pieces. Now that's definitely not a problem with this specific set, that's just LEGO's problem with those pieces at the time. But with this one, you gotta be careful because that front nose area is mainly those red pieces, and it can snap in half very, very easily. That actually happened to me when I bought this set new sealed in the box. When I was reviewing it, the front nose actually snapped off. Thankfully, I just ended up getting replacement parts, but still, it's something to look out for if you ever get this set or own it. Those red pieces are very dangerous. But other than that, it's a classic set, looks amazing, and I think it's a lot of people's white whale. Anyways though, up next to the number 8 spot, I have 75281 Anakin's Jedi Interceptor from 2020. This one is nearly identical to the 2014 one, however, they kind of just cleaned and polished it up a little bit more. The main change they made was making the 2 front cannons gray instead of black, which I actually think does look a tad bit better, and that's why I put it a few spots higher. I mean, I honestly think this is perfect. I genuinely don't think they could make Anakin's Jedi Interceptor any better than this right here. But after all, there is a Jedi Interceptor that I do think is a little bit better. Coming in at the number 7th spot, I have 75135 Obi-Wan's Jedi Interceptor from 2016. And honestly, the reason I put this set over the 2020 Anakin Jedi Interceptor is just because I'm pretty biased towards this dark red colorway. I think that combined with the light gray just looks absolutely incredible, making for a very beautiful set. It also has stickers on the outsides of the wing foils, which the other Jedi Interceptors don't have, so that actually does give it a tad bit more detail. However, if there is one complaint I have about this set, it's how the astromech sits in the wing. For some reason, it doesn't go down far enough, leading to it, as you can see here, sticking up pretty high out of the wing, and it just looks a bit off. But other than that, this set looks really good, and again, I love the colorway. Moving on to the number 6 spot, I have one of the most legendary battle packs of all time, that being 75035 Kashyyyk Troopers from 2014. This was the first time that LEGO released modern 41st Elite Troopers, or Kashyyyk Troopers, and it really changed the game. These are absolutely gorgeous looking minifigures, and this battle pack alone started a whole entire wave of Kashyyyk mocks within the community, and I just think it's really awesome that one single battle pack was able to have that effect. And also, unlike other battle packs, it also has a pretty decent build, that being the little swamp speeder there. In my opinion at least, it actually looks cool, and it's not just a side build to throw in the bin like with other battle packs. But now finally making our way into the top 5, at the number 5 spot, I have 75234 ATAP Walker from 2019. 2019. This is another fan favorite set, mainly because it was the last set to include Commander Gree as of the time of me making this video, but Commander Gree definitely isn't the only good thing about this set because the build is actually really good. Now my personal little complaint with it is that I think it leans forward a little bit too much and also the back hind legs stick out a little bit too far, but that's definitely just a personal nitpick on my end. Other than that, the build looks incredible. The shaping of the whole area is very nice. The cannon looks awesome. It's just overall a really cool build. Anyways though, up next to the number 4 spot, I have one of the most popular sets in recent times, that being 75337 ATTE Walker from 2022. And this is without a doubt the best ATTE LEGO has ever made. I don't even think it's close, and I'm pretty sure most people can agree with that. It's just a very good build. One thing that is annoying about it, to me at least, is that the cannons on the ball turrets do snap off very easily when you try to pose them, but other than that, it looks incredible. I mean, again, this is just a very good looking walker. However, the reason I'm not putting it up any higher is because I know you guys aren't going to like to hear this, but it's because of the clone troopers. Commander Cody looks good, but the other clone troopers don't. The helmet print on these 212 troopers is just so bad, and to this day, it amazes me how LEGO messed it up, and it's honestly really disappointing because the build is pretty much perfect, but the troopers are just not, and if they were perfect, I would have put this set at number 1. And up next at the number 3 spot, I have a set that includes actual good 212 troopers, that being 75036 Utapau troopers from 2014. In my opinion, this is one of, if not the best battle pack ever made, because the figures in this set are just phenomenal, especially those 212 troopers, and unlike the troopers in the ATTE, these ones actually have a correct helmet print. Insane that a set that is over 10 years old has better figures than a set that is on shelves today, just wild to me. But it's not just the figures that are good about this set, the actual build is good too. Like the Swamp Speeder, it's one of the only battle packs that actually has a good build to complement the figures and not one to just scrap and throw in the bin. And also, if I recall correctly, it's the only time LEGO has ever made this type of Tri-Droid before. Anyways though, moving on to the number 2 spot, I have another personal favorite of mine, that being 75043 ATAP from 2014. I think this set is incredible. In my opinion, it's the best ATAP LEGO has made, yes, even better than the 2019 version, and the main reason I think it's better than the 2019 model is just because it doesn't slouch forward as much. It has a more upright stature, which I think just looks a lot better, but other than the actual posture of the build, it's nearly the exact same design, and I really wanted to put this set at number 1. However, the reason I didn't is because of its minifigure lineup. I really wish it included an extra clone trooper or two so you could actually fill out the entire set, but no, the only clone trooper it includes is Commander Gree, which is nice. However, I've just never really liked that, so because of that, I unfortunately had to keep this set at number 2, even though I really wanted to put it at number 1. So that means at the number 1 spot, this is going to be a huge hot take, and I know a ton of people are going to disagree with this, but I actually have 75151 Clone Turbo Tank from 2016. Because this turbo tank was smaller than the previous 2 turbo tanks, it just got an insane amount of unnecessary hate in my opinion. Because if you look past it being smaller than the previous 2 turbo tanks, there's nothing wrong with this set. Literally not a single thing wrong with it. The build itself looks incredible. I mean, on the outside, I'd say it's the most accurate turbo tank LEGO has made. The detail and shaping is just perfect in my opinion. It also includes a minifigure scale ATRT build, which is way better than the ATRT that's in the 2010 turbo tank. And then on top of that, it has a perfect minifigure lineup. It's got Commander Gree and an extra clone trooper, not just Commander Gree. It's got 2 battle droids for the clone troopers to fight, and not to mention, it has Luminar Unduli and Quinlan Voss, 2 of the coolest Jedi figures that LEGO has made in recent times. They look absolutely phenomenal. So again, if you look past this set being slightly downsized from the turbo tanks that came before it, it's pretty much a perfect set. And because of that, I am unironically putting this at number 1 as the best Revenge of the Sith set ever made, even though I know that 99% of people are going to disagree with this. But that's going to do it for this video. That is my 2025 ranking of every LEGO Star Wars Revenge of the Sith set. Let me know what you guys think about this list down in the comments below, what you agree with and what you don't agree with. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see on the screen right now.